Harold Shipman. The name sends chills down your spine, evoking a sense of dread and unease. A name synonymous with betrayal, malice, and cold-blooded murder. Shipman, a trusted family doctor, shattered the very foundation of trust that his patients placed in him. This seemingly ordinary doctor harbored a dark secret, a hidden malevolence that lurked beneath his professional facade. A sinister desire that led him to become one of the most prolific serial killers in history. His actions were not driven by a momentary lapse in judgment, but by a calculated and methodical approach to murder. His weapon of choice? Not a gun or a knife, but something far more insidious: his patients' trust. He exploited the very essence of his profession, using his medical knowledge to administer lethal doses of drugs. "I have no emotions about it at all. It's just another day." Harold Shipman, during his trial. These words, spoken with chilling detachment, reveal the depth of his depravity. These bone-chilling words, uttered with an almost indifferent shrug, offer a glimpse into the mind of a man devoid of remorse, a man who saw his heinous acts as mere routine, a man who treated human life as mere playthings in his twisted game. His victims, often elderly and vulnerable, trusted him implicitly, never suspecting the danger that lurked behind his reassuring smile. How did a man sworn to heal become a harbinger of death? The answer lies in the dark recesses of his psyche, a place where empathy and compassion were replaced by a cold, calculating desire for control and power. Let's delve into the dark world of Harold Shipman, a man who twisted the Hippocratic Oath into a tool of his deadly desires. His story is a stark reminder of the potential for evil that can reside in the most unexpected places. As we explore the chilling details of his crimes, we must also reflect on the broader implications. How can we safeguard the trust between doctors and patients? How can we ensure that the sanctity of the medical profession is upheld? These are questions that continue to haunt us, long after Shipman's reign of terror has ended. The legacy of Harold Shipman is not just one of horror and betrayal, but also a call to vigilance. It is a reminder that even in the most trusted institutions, darkness can sometimes find a way in. By understanding his story, we can better protect ourselves and our loved ones from those who would exploit our trust for their own sinister purposes. In the end, the story of Harold Shipman is a tragic tale of lives lost and trust shattered. But it is also a story of resilience and the enduring human spirit. As we remember the victims, we must also honor their memory by striving to create a world where such atrocities can never happen again. Join us as we uncover the dark truths behind the killer in the white coat, and learn how we can build a safer, more compassionate world for all. Born in 1946 in Nottingham, England, Shipman's early life seemed unremarkable. He grew up in a working-class family, the second of 4 children. His father was a lorry driver, and his mother a homemaker. The family lived in a modest home, and Shipman's childhood was typical of the era, filled with the simple pleasures and challenges of post-war Britain. A bright student, he excelled academically, showing a particular aptitude for science. His teachers noted his keen intellect and determination, often describing him as a diligent and focused student. He was not particularly sociable, preferring to spend his time immersed in books rather than in the company of his peers. Eventually, he found his calling in medicine, inspired by the care his mother received during her battle with terminal cancer. Her death had a profound impact on him, solidifying his resolve to pursue a career in the medical field. He was determined to make a difference, to alleviate the suffering of others as he had seen doctors do for his mother. Graduating from Leeds School of Medicine in 1970, he embarked on his medical career with a sense of purpose and dedication. His early years in the profession were marked by a genuine desire to help and heal, and he quickly gained a reputation as a competent and caring physician. Seemingly destined for a life of service and healing, Shipman's early career saw him moving between hospitals and practices, gaining valuable experience and honing his skills. He was well liked by colleagues and patients alike, who appreciated his bedside manner and medical expertise. His early career saw him moving between hospitals and practices, gaining experience and building a reputation as a competent, even charming physician. He was known for his meticulous attention to detail and his ability to put patients at ease, qualities that endeared him to many. However, beneath the veneer of normalcy lurked a darkness that would soon rear its ugly head. Despite his outward appearance of professionalism and compassion, there were early signs of a more sinister side to Shipman's character. In 1974, while working at a practice in Yorkshire, Shipman's dark secret began to unravel. Colleagues and staff started to notice discrepancies in his behavior and record-keeping, raising suspicions about his activities. He was caught forging prescriptions for pethidine, a powerful opioid. This was a serious breach of medical ethics and the law, and it led to his first major brush with the authorities. The incident shocked those who knew him, as it seemed so out of character for the dedicated doctor they thought they knew. This early brush with the law should have served as a warning, a red flag, highlighting his dangerous proclivities. However, instead of facing severe consequences, Shipman received a relatively lenient punishment. He was fined and sent to a drug rehabilitation program, but was allowed to continue practicing medicine. Instead, it became a stepping stone, a learning experience in the art of deception that would define his future crimes. Shipman learned how to manipulate the system and avoid detection, skills that he would later use to devastating effect. This period marked the beginning of a double life, where the caring doctor and the calculating criminal coexisted. Shipman's ability to maintain this facade would allow him to continue his deadly activities for many years, leaving a trail of victims in his wake. Shipman's weapon of choice was diamorphine, a powerful painkiller often used in palliative care. Diamorphine, also known as heroin in its illicit form, is a potent opioid that can provide immense relief to those suffering from severe pain. In the hands of a trusted medical professional, it can be a source of comfort and dignity in a patient's final days. He preyed on the elderly, those who were often isolated and in need of companionship and care. These individuals, in their most vulnerable state, were easy targets for someone they believed had their best interests at heart, those most vulnerable and most trusting of their physician. Shipman exploited this trust, presenting himself as a compassionate caregiver. His demeanor was calm and reassuring, a stark contrast to the malevolent intentions that lay beneath. His method was chillingly simple, yet ruthlessly effective. By administering diamorphine, he could swiftly and quietly end a life without raising immediate suspicion. The drug's effects were quick, and its presence in a medical setting was not unusual. He would visit his victims in their homes, a place where they felt safe and secure. These visits were often unannounced, catching his patients off guard and alone. Gaining their trust, offering comfort and care in their twilight years. He would sit with them, listen to their concerns, and provide the medical attention they needed. This facade of kindness made his true intentions all the more insidious. Then, with a cold, calculating precision, he would prepare the lethal dose. His actions were methodical, each step carefully planned to avoid detection. He would inject them with a lethal dose of diamorphine, ensuring their swift demise. The injection was administered with a steady hand, betraying no hint of the horror he was inflicting, ending their lives under the guise of medical care. To the outside world, it appeared as though he was providing necessary treatment, a final act of mercy for a suffering patient. He would often falsify medical records, meticulously altering details to support his narrative. These records would show a natural progression of illness, masking the true cause of death, making it seem as though his victims had died of natural causes. The death certificates he signed were filled with lies, each one a testament to his deceit. He would even go so far as to forge their wills, making himself the beneficiary, a move that added a financial motive to his already twisted actions. This betrayal extended beyond the grave, robbing families of their rightful inheritance, adding financial gain to his twisted motives. The money he gained from these forgeries was a grim reward for his heinous acts, further fueling his sense of power and control. Shipman's actions were a grotesque perversion of the doctor-patient relationship, a sacred bond built on trust and care. He turned this relationship into a tool for his own gain, a means to an end, a betrayal of the very oath he swore to uphold. The Hippocratic Oath, a pledge to do no harm, was twisted into a mockery by his actions. Each life he took was a violation of this sacred promise. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing, a predator who hid behind the facade of a caring doctor. His outward appearance was one of professionalism and compassion, masking the darkness within. A predator hiding in plain sight, moving through society unnoticed. His position as a doctor provided him with a cloak of respectability, allowing him to continue his crimes without arousing suspicion. His sinister deeds masked by his profession and fueled by the trust of his unsuspecting victims. Each act of murder was a calculated move, hidden behind the trust and respect afforded to him by his title. Shipman's legacy is a chilling reminder of the potential for evil that can lurk behind even the most trusted of facades. Section 4. The Investigation. Unraveling a Web of Deceit. For years, Shipman operated with impunity, his crimes hidden in plain sight. However, the truth, like a persistent whisper, eventually began to surface. In 1998, concerns were raised by several individuals, including a local undertaker who noticed a suspiciously high number of deaths among Shipman's patients, and a doctor from a neighboring practice who found it odd that so many of Shipman's patients were dying in the afternoon, fully clothed and with no signs of distress. The police launched an investigation, exhuming the bodies of several of Shipman's former patients. The results were shocking. High levels of diamorphine were found in their systems, confirming the suspicions. Shipman, the respected doctor, the pillar of the community, was unmasked as a cold-blooded killer. Section 5. The Trial and Conviction of Dr. Death. The trial of Harold Shipman began in October 1999. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, including medical records, witness testimonies, and the damning toxicology reports. Shipman, arrogant and seemingly unfazed, maintained his innocence throughout the trial. He claimed that his patients were simply dropping like flies, a preposterous defense that did little to sway the jury. On January 31, 2000, after an 8-month trial, the jury delivered its verdict, guilty on 15 counts of murder and 1 count of forgery. Shipman was sentenced to 15 life sentences without the possibility of parole. The judge, in his sentencing remarks, called Shipman arrogant and manipulative, adding that he had abused his position in a grotesque and horrifying way. Section 6. Shipman behind bars, life imprisonment, and a shocking end. Incarcerated at HMP Frankland, a high-security prison in County Durham, England, Shipman remained an enigma. He refused to confess to his crimes, maintaining his innocence and showing no remorse for the lives he had taken. He was a model prisoner, following the rules, rarely causing trouble, his true nature hidden behind a mask of normalcy. However, even within the confines of prison, Shipman's story took another unexpected turn. On January 13, 2004, he was found dead in his cell, having hanged himself. His suicide, a final act of defiance, robbed his victims' families of the closure they so desperately craved. It was a final, chilling act from a man who seemed determined to control every aspect of his life, even his death.